Hey, it's Kish,
And it's Roland here.
and we're from Porygon Tube, and we're bringing you round 3 action of the Bendigo League Cup from Victoria, Australia. In this round, we'll be featuring Matt on the left, playing his Mega Gardevoir deck, versus Joseph on the right, playing Decidueye Vileplume. So Decidueye Vileplume, a newer deck to come out of Sun and Moon, and Mega Gardevoir, a stalwart of the format. It's been around for a while, gone through numerous changes, and Matt's actually playing a 2-2 split of the Megas, playing 2 of the Decidueye Gardevoir from Steam Siege, and two of the Brilliant Arrow from Primal Clash. So, Roland, what are your first thoughts on this matchup?
Well, one of the important things to note is that Matt is playing 2 Hex Maniac, which is really crucial in this matchup. Not just for shutting off Decidueye's ability, which is where Decidueye generates a lot of its damage output, and particularly it allows it to finesse damage on the bench and do the exact numbers that it needs, but also shutting off Vileplume, which means Matt's going to be able to get mileage out of a lot of these trainers like Mega Turbo, just all of these trainers that he has in his deck, which are so important, but against Vileplume you otherwise wouldn't be able to use them. So yeah, that's going to be important for him. And it's interesting to know that Joseph's playing a rainbow version of Decidueye Vileplume. That's something that we've seen players sort of toss up. Do you play just the straight grass build, or do you play rainbow and play some funky techs? Like Jolteon, that's really the main one that would warrant the inclusion of that rainbow energy, which he's got in there, but that's not going to be really important in this matchup. Neither Jolteon EX nor Espeon EX, which he plays in his deck, which is, sort of the slightly out there techs. Not too out there, lots of other people play it, but the non-standard techs, neither of those are going to be particularly useful in this matchup. So it's more or less just going to be a straight Decidueye Vileplume versus Mega Gardevoir. But what do you have to say about the Mega Gardy deck in this format? Because I know you piloted it to pretty good success in the Hobart League Cup, which we had on our channel.
Yeah. Look, I think it's one of those decks that has the potential to beat anything in the format. It's just struggles with its own consistency. It gets in its own way. You can't get the Spirit Links down when you need to. You don't start with Xerneas when you need to. So, yeah, that's the problem. It's probably one of the few decks that has the potential to beat Decidueye Vileplume because the Brilliant Arrow Gardevoir can actually hit those massive numbers that it needs to.
Yeah.
Even under item lock, just purely because of Xerneas being able to Geomancy. So it'll be really interesting, and Matt is starting actually,
that's
which
so
is huge.
important. Yeah. Imagine, look at his hand right now. Imagine if he didn't have items, and let's say, for instance, Joseph on his first turn, imagine if he got Vileplume up. Yeah, he couldn't play this Ultra Ball, and then whatever he'll draw of his N, he wouldn't be able to play that. So this is so big.
Yeah, and the other thing is that the Gardevoir deck has the luxury of being able to play a Hooper, although I'm not sure if Matt's
Don't believe he
Hooper in
does,
his deck.
no, but...
So, he does.
Oh, no, he does. There we go.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
because most decks can't afford to drop the Hooper against Decidueye Vileplume because it's such an easy Lysander target, it can get stalled up there. Whereas Mega Gardevoir, it has the Fairy Garden, so it can just afford to attach an energy to it, which is not wasted because the Brilliant Arrow Gardevoir can make use of that energy to do more damage. So Hooper can never really be stalled active, so it does have the luxury of being able to play Hooper, which is massive.
Yeah, definitely.
The other big thing for Matt is, can he get down his EXP shares early? And can he play out his Max Elixirs early? Because he is playing a split of Max Elixir and Mega Turbo, so that's going to be massive. So really, I think this matchup's going to come down to these first couple of turns for Matt, especially. Joseph's just going to do his thing, probably. Normal Decidueye Vileplume thing. So we'll have to wait and see, but I do think it has the potential to beat Decidueye Vileplume.
Yeah, wish the Max Elixir there. Kind of unfortunate. You've got a lot of basic energy in the deck, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. It is very unfortunate.
Yeah, he does really want a Xerneas out as well. It's not something that he can actually... Yeah, well, he can get it out on turn 2 because he's going first, an attachment to the active with the Fairy Garden, then on his second turn retreats to Xerneas, attaches, and then Geomancies. He'll have time to do that probably against this deck. So, yeah, as you said, Brilliant Arrow can one-hit KO Decidueye once you get 8 energy on the field, and that's not quite as far-fetched as it might seem. Like, that is probably possible, I think, against Decidueye Vileplume, but... Yeah, so he is going to end up having to play the end that he had in his hand. Wasn't able to, unfortunately, get too much mileage out of that Shaman, but, I mean, he was unlucky with the Max Elixir there.
Yeah, and the other big thing he'll be searching for is Spirit Links.
Absolutely, yeah. He only plays 3, so, not obviously not impossible, but not something that's guaranteed by any means. So, yeah, but that's something that he'll really like. It might be... Yeah, because, of course, he doesn't really want to take the time to Mega Evolve, not because... he would necessarily want to attack with Gardevoir immediately, but because it means it would mean that he would have to forego using Geomancy. So he'd really like to be able to Mega Evolve and use Geomancy, simultaneously. But
Yeah,
it
so he
doesn't look like he got
unfortunately
it.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't draw any Spirlinks or any other items that he can play out. He does have a Mega Turbo, but no Megas in play, so he cannot use that. So Joseph, onto his turn. He'll have to think about how he wants to order his turn. Very important, the sequencing for Decidueye Vileplume. So he's got a couple of level balls in hand. Let's see what he decides to
He's
do.
deciding while he's swiveling in his chair. Gotta love
Yeah.
these chairs, actually. These are looking really good.
Actually, big shout out to Guff for that. They provided nothing but the best for us. These chairs,
Yeah, it's looking great. I wish I was
phenomenal.
there. Yeah. That's better than
The
any
stream
chair I've
chairs
sat
were
in for an
amazing.
event.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Okay, gets the forest. That's really the most important piece for Decidueye
That
Vileplume
is-
turn 1.
Yeah.
Because all these other cards you have in your hand, they're not going to become useful until you actually have that Decidueye. Sorry, until you have that Forest of Giant Plants, which gets you Decidueye.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Joseph just searching through, seeing what's prized, seeing what his Vileplume line is like. That's always very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Because
seeing-
with the 2/2/2 line, if one's prized, but then you can't discard one. So
Yeah. So, okay. So looks like he's fishing for a couple of Rowlets. He's got an Ultra Ball. Okay, so he actually gets a Dartrix.
yep. Because
Perhaps
typically these
knowing
decks
that
will want to get out
Yeah.
one or two
he's got
Decidueyes
a
before they go for Vileplume.
Yeah.
It's actually this deck has a pretty hard turn 1. Compared to
Mhm.
other decks. Actually, a lot of the skill is in how you manage the first turn.
Yeah.
And how aggressively you pursue going for Vileplume versus setting up
Yeah.
Decidueyes and sort of these mini decisions which you make, which actually have big consequences in what your probabilities are of getting out multiple Decidueye, Vileplume, all these other things.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And one of the things, as you said, is what do you play out? So he had the option there of discarding the Decidueye and playing the other level ball
Yeah.
to get a Gloom
yeah,
or another Rowlet. So he decided to just guarantee himself some damage this turn, get the Decidueye out, and we'll see if that pays off.
it's also interesting to note, what does he necessarily want to end his turn on? He might use Hollow Hunt this turn, possibly.
Yeah.
He also might choose not to, but that's something that's going to be interesting to see at the end of all this. We've got some more swiveling. Looking pretty animated, is Joseph.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he has too bad a hand. He's got a...
Oh,
I think
wow,
that's what the
alright.
animation was about, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Joseph just slow rolling the Decidueye there.
I wonder if I should put down another Decidueye.
Seems good. Seems good.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Turn 1, 2 stage 2s.
Yeah,
Good.
can he get the third?
Alright, so he's got to revitalize it. Yeah, so he discards it straight away.
Interesting, yeah, so had to...
Great.
Yeah.
Grabs a shame in there. So unfortunately for him, has to discard a float stone, which he'd like to put on.
Yeah, that is something that he would like to put on, absolutely. And it is just worth noting that he hasn't played a supporter yet. So, yeah.
Hasn't played a supporter.
And,
Still has
and he's
two
still,
feather
and he's still got a
feather
shaman
arrows.
to play, yeah. So it's looking very likely. So Matt's probably sitting here thinking, okay, I'm probably going to get hit by Vileplume.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's interesting. He'll have a decision on whether he perhaps wants to just attach and Mega Evolve, because I believe he has a Mega
Yeah.
Evolution in his hand. So he might just
He
bite
does.
the bullet and do that. But we'll see. It depends.
Okay, so Joseph Trainer's Mail's here. What does he find? So obviously he's going to prioritize Vileplume now. He's got 2 Decidueyes out. He doesn't really need anything more. He'll want to keep that last bench slot for possibly a Lugia or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lugia's going to be the best alternate attacker here. Meowth might have some utility, but probably Lugia's going to be the big one.
Okay, so he Ultra Balls. So he's going to get the turn 1 Vileplume.
Yeah.
And that's massive.
That's
so
huge,
Matt
yeah.
hasn't managed to play out many items on his first turn, unfortunately. And so he's going to get locked out of those unless he can find a Hex sometime soon. Alright. So... Okay, there's a sick
There we go. There's the supporter for the turn.
So one thing to note for Matt as well, him playing Hex may also benefit Joseph in some circumstances. Can allow him to get back Pokemon with Revitalizer, play out his Ultra Balls and things like that. So help him set up other Decidueyes, because sometimes Hex can be beneficial for the Decidueye deck as well. So,
it can, although he did discard a Revitalizer and a Floatstone early on. But he'll still have a Revitalizer left, so yeah, could see that.
He can Hollow Hunt.
He
So-
absolutely can Hollow Hunt. Never forget. But yes, as I mentioned before, so he doesn't Hollow Hunt, he attaches double colours. He may not have had a a Rainbow Energy, because he only does play 3 Rainbow Energy, so yeah. And Matthew did exactly what I was saying last turn. He did just decide to attach a Mega Evolve, chooses to, I think, intelligently evolve the bench one, which doesn't have the damage on it.
Wow. And Joseph puts down another Decidueye just straight out of the hand.
And he discarded the other one the previous turn, so that's nuts.
That is crazy. Wow. What a turn. So he's going to be dropping 6 damage counters a turn just from abilities alone.
Yeah, and if he can get a Rainbow Energy this turn, that's a knockout. And there we go.
So
ouch.
So Matt's got to be feeling the pressure right away. Remember, this is only Joseph's second turn, and he's got 3 Decidueyes developed as well as a Vileplume. So that is pretty much the ideal start. You can't really ask for much better than that from the Decidueye Vileplume deck.
No, you really can't. The only thing you might like is a Lugia or something, but you can't really ask for much more than that.
Yeah.
So he's going to decide to finish off the active this turn.
Yep.
What he could have done was leave it with 20 HP left, or leave it with some amount of HP left, and actually then knocked it out with abilities on the following turn, with his Featherhouse on the following turn, to prevent Matt from getting an attack off this turn. That might have been the better option, although if Matt has a Fairy Garden, that's a moot point, but if he doesn't get the Fairy Garden, well then, Joseph could have actually prevented him from using Despero this turn. Yeah. Perhaps Joseph was worried about actually discarding the Gardevoir off the bench with Despero. That's the attack name. Yeah, so he was actually probably worried about that. So probably taking the more conservative approach, saying I'm going to get the knockout now. Yes, I could try some fancy stall tactic, but at the end of the day, if I can get my 2 prizes here, I'm in a good position. So I'm just going to play it conservatively and just try and close out this game.
Yeah.
And so he can't really do much more other than just Despero there. But he couldn't have really done much more for the turn anyway. He'd attached. So I mean, that's the thing with Vileplume, right? Your turns generally come down to attaching energy and attacking. That's really it. Yeah. So
although Matt will get a knockout next turn.
He will, absolutely. He absolutely will, because he did 130
Joseph
that turn.
Cannot knock out this Mega Gardevoir this turn.
No, he can't.
He's capped at 150 damage with all his abilities and Razor Leaf combined. So he's just calculating where does he want to put this damage. So what would you like to see here, Roland, from Joseph? Just put everything on the active?
Yeah, interesting. It's tough because ultimately you know that you're going to want to knock out that Gardevoir. So you might say, okay, well, I'm just going to put all the Feather Arrows on it because I know for sure that that's going to be what I'm going to knock out anyway. The only problem is if he gets hexed on the following turn, that damage will be irrelevant because, and so that's what we did see him do. But the thing is, if he gets hexed here, all that damage he put on wasn't relevant because he'd have to then Razor Leaf for 90 damage, which is overkill. However, that's not relevant because Matt had an N. But if he'd had a hex, that actually would have been, that inefficiency would have been there. But so sometimes the decisions can be a bit kind of like you are weighing up depending on what your opponent has. But
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's important that Matt gets some good stuff off this N here. He's got to get an energy, I feel.
Yeah. He's got to get an energy. Does he get one? He doesn't.
He doesn't, yeah. That's really rough for him.
That's massive. Because that basically... Yeah, Joseph's able to Hollow Hunt next turn, even if this Decidueye goes down, he's able to Hollow Hunt.
Worst case scenario for Joseph is that he Hollow Hunts, but it could be worse for Matt than that. He could get a Razor Leaf off.
How much damage is on that active Mega Gardy?
Yeah, so it should have... Because that had...
it had 20 on it from one snipe. Plus the 60... Should be up to 170, I believe.
I think so, yeah. I think that's right, yeah.
So Joseph can actually Hollow Hunt here and get a knockout on the Mega Gardy with 2 Decidueye snipes. So that's massive.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does, because he could Razor Leaf.
Yeah.
Or he could say, I can Hollow Hunt, say, for instance, my entire Decidueye line or something like that.
Yeah. Or even energy. Energy could be
or energy, absolutely, yeah. Because when you because Decidueye lists kind of skimp a bit on energy, I suppose, is probably the best way of saying it, because they know they can Hollow Hunt if they need to. Getting 3 of any card, getting any 3 cards is really powerful. So, it's going to be interesting to see what he does here.
But I think he's sitting pretty... Matt not having an energy last turn was pretty big, I think.
Yeah, Joseph could possibly be worried about Lysander, because he wasn't able to get a float stone on his Vileplume, so it's possible that Matt, gets a life stone off on a Vileplume, and that gives him a few turns to really set up.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, Decidueye, even when you have Vileplume stored, you can still do damage to your opponent. So it's not like, life stone of Vileplume's never really going to be a win condition against Decidueye, but it can be good, because 40 damage a turn isn't really that much when you think about it. So it could actually, we see Matt does have a life stone in his hand, so maybe Joseph's worried about, okay, I should Hollow Hunt for energy or something so that a Vileplume doesn't get stalled.
Yeah, or even Hollow Hunting just the other Decidueye line.
Yeah, exactly. Or
even if Vileplume gets stalled out, 6 damage counters is a lot more than 4.
Absolutely, no, absolutely right. That is 100% right. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, we do see him get the energy, flipping over his GX marker. Good to see him having a legitimate GX marker. Oh no, wait, is that? Yeah, that is the legitimate GX.
It is a legit GX market.
Yeah, it's better than what I was using at the internationals.
Right.
Just the DCE they gave us.
You use the DCE. All right.
Yeah. What did you use?
I use my Mikey card.
I think that's even worse. It's not even Pokemon related.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, you get a hefty fine if you don't have your GX counter on the tram.
Well played.
Yeah. All right. So Joseph just Hollow Hunts. I actually missed what he Hollow Hunted.
So he grabbed the Decidueye because, of course, remember how he did discard. So he had one more Decidueye in his discard pile than the rest of his line. So he grabbed the Decidueye, I think he then grabbed 2 energy.
Rainbow. He grabbed a Rainbow, so I wasn't quite sure.
Rainbow. Darn. Not quite 100% sure what the third one was, but he definitely grabbed the Decidueye, so...
Okay, so Matt, interestingly, Lysanders the Decidueye rather than the Vileplume.
Okay, and then Mega Evolves. Yeah, sort of an interesting player. He saw that, Joseph has the Rainbow, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. I would have liked to see him Lysander the Vileplume there.
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, what's Joseph going to do? If you Lysander the Vileplume, he can't really do anything immediately. The interesting thing is, does Joseph actually have a Forest of Giant Plants?
He's got a large hand.
He does have a large hand, but...
I'm not sure how many he's discarded, though. Might have gone through 2 or 3, so he might be down to 1 forest.
Yeah. Because, I mean, this is where it can be a bit precarious for... But, we see Matt really not have anything there.
Yeah, Matt not having any supporter, no energy to even Geomancy. At a minimum, you'd hope to see him have 1 energy just so he can Geomancy.
Ouch, yeah, and then we do see the
going in for the kill here.
Oh, that might be what he got off the Hollow Hunt, the third one.
Yeah. So he's going to put that Mega Guardi up to 130 with 2 snipes and the 90 damage. So Matt's on a 1-turn clock here. I don't know there's a lot he can do about this now.
Yeah.
And so he scoops it up.
Yep.
So Joseph, that is the power of Vileplume combined with Decidueye. It's just such a powerful deck when it gets going. There's not a lot Matt could do there. For his part, he missed a lot of energy. He missed his Max Elixirs. He did manage to knock out 1 Decidueye, but just not enough. So he'll be going first again, fortunately for him, in Game 2. So hopefully he'll be able to drop a few more items before that lock comes in.
Yeah, and Vileplume is just so oppressive. This, we saw in Matt's hand, he just can't play so many of his cards. That's just never got to play Hexmania, which I was talking about.
He didn't.
Would be really crucial, but he never got to play it because, of course, you've just got to draw into it without. Obviously, because if you played a supporter to draw into it, well, then you can't play it immediately anyway. So, it's just really tough here. But if he can get set up and get those energy on board, there's no reason that he can't. Because it can get a bit sort of like there's kind of a balancing point where, like, let's just say in that situation, one of Joseph's Decidueyes got knocked out. That can be really where the scales just completely tip over in the other direction.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's a precarious situation. That is probably how I was trying to describe it, because of course once you lose one Decidueye, you lose a bunch of energy, you lose a feather arrow, and often you can't follow up with much damage after that. So sometimes it can be like a really authoritative victory from the Decidueye Vileplume player, but often like 1 or 2 things just need to change and it can totally flip in the opposite direction. But Vileplume is just so oppressive that, maybe you have a bunch of cards which can win you the matchup, but if you're not going to draw into them because item lock is so strong, well, that's a moot point. So, hopefully for Matt, he gets better set up this game, but there's always the risk that you don't draw what you want.
And I guess for Matt as well, he makes Joseph's decision slightly harder by having that Decidueye Gardevoir, meaning that he can discard sniped Pokemon off the bench at any point.
Yeah, that's good.
Shaymins and Hoopers aren't exactly easy targets when they can just be discarded off the bench easily, or even putting like a Mega Guardi up to, 150 or 170 damage. It doesn't necessarily guarantee Joseph the knockout.
So. No, absolutely. And of course, he does have, Xerneas Break as an alternate attacker, so it's not like, oh, well, I've discarded my Mega Guardies, but then I just lose an attacker. He has enough attackers so that stopping Joseph from getting 6 prizes doesn't mean that he will just run out of attackers anyway, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Matt's actually got a great hand.
He does. Starting with Xerneas, really huge. Really, really important. Joseph also got a good start in Lugia. Lugia's a pretty good starter for the deck, because, of course, it can attack on turn 1, and actually you don't need to have your Decidueye in harm's way. So it's actually a pretty good start for him as well. So, but yeah, Ultra Ball, really good. Max Licks are really good. Shaman, really good. So Matt could really go off here, but he does actually discard the discards an EXP share.
Yeah, so he had sort of an option. I think he had an option there to discard the EXP share or the Sycamore.
Yeah.
So
does he want to take the risk?
Sycamore,
that's
that you
tough.
don't draw into another draw supporter, and then you're stuck. But it almost feels like he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe would have liked to see him discard the Sycamore there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, EXP share is not always going to get you value in this matchup, because the Decidueye player can sometimes set up the damage so that Feather Arrow is what is going to be the knockout, but they're not always going to be able to do that. Or sometimes, in order for them to be able to do that, they'd have to delay knocking something out for a turn. So it's actually, EXP share can still definitely be good. So I agree. I would have liked to see him sort of go for broke a bit there, and because you've got to take risks in this matchup. By discarding the Sycamore, you'd be able to actually draw one more off setup as well.
Exactly.
So I mean, look, you can't blame someone for being too conservative, because I mean, I agree. I think, but it's you can't blame someone for being too conservative on the first turn. You don't want to sort of, ideally, you don't want to gamble your entire game.
It definitely wasn't the wrong play by Matt. It's just the more conservative option.
Yeah.
Versus the more, as you say, risky go for broke option. So Matt draws into some pretty nice cards, actually.
Yeah.
He's got a Via Seeker, another Max Elixir, a Trainer's Mail. So he gets another EXP share. So that's good at least.
Yep, good for him. It'll be interesting to see where he puts it. Actually, he'll probably just put it on the Gardevoir with no energy. So, but that's probably what he'll do.
It sort of depends. Even Hooper's a good target.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hooper wouldn't actually be the worst target to put it on.
So he's just deciding whether to get the Lysander or the EXP share.
Yeah, not sure that he'd really want the Lysander.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I mean, in other matchups, you want Lysander in the discard pile so you can get it with Versus Seeker, but in this matchup, doesn't really work that way. So, you want to keep those Lysander in your deck.
So, interesting that he chose to attach the EXP share to the active Xerneas. Not usually a play you see too often.
That is pretty unusual. Perhaps he anticipates retreating it before it gets knocked out, but then the problem, but he's not going to be able to, I don't really understand that too much, but perhaps he envisions that it's not going to get knocked out soon.
Possibly, yeah.
But I mean, the way I would have sort of anticipated the situation playing out is that he just tries to Geomancy as many times as is humanly possible until the Xerneas gets knocked out.
Exactly.
So, but maybe he has a different play, I'm not sure.
Because Joseph is sort of forced to knock out that Xerneas. He can't afford for Matt to just keep Geomancying forever, because then he will be getting one hit KO'd every turn. So that Xerneas is a sacrifice. You just want to Geomancy as much as you can before it gets knocked out. So would have liked to see that EXP share go on to something on the bench, possibly the Hooper. Anyway, so he Sycamores, and he does draw a Hex and a couple of Ultra Balls.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird hand, actually. That's a That's a interesting thing. He did an Ultra Ball because I think next turn he anticipated playing the Sycamore. So he actually had to make a big decision here and now, even though he couldn't do anything. If he thought that next turn he just wanted to attach and Mega Evolve, he would have to have Ultra Ball then, because if he doesn't have access to items on his following turn, if Joseph gets his Vileplume up, he wouldn't be able to use them. But then the opposite is true in the sense that if he knew that he was going to play the Sycamore, then he absolutely wouldn't want to use the Ultra Balls. So he obviously went with the decision of, I think next turn I am going to Sycamore. Yeah. So, which is an interesting decision because, as you mentioned, he does have the Hex. So, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So Joseph's just Ultra Balling, discarding a couple of grass Pokemon.
Yeah, Vileplume and Dartrix. So obviously, not obviously, but probably doesn't have the Forest Giant Blades in his hand.
Yeah, and actually great for Joseph that he gets the DC straight off the bat.
Yeah, really big. So guaranteed he's going to get at least 60 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, put that Xerneas on a clock. So what does he draw? He, as we said in the last game, Forest is really the piece of the puzzle that you need to see early in order to make use of most of the cards in your hand. So he does have a level ball for an Oddish.
Yeah, if you don't get Forest, you've got a pretty clunky deck on your hands.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of stage 2s. And,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So he has to discard a second Dartrix and a DCE.
Yeah, the Dartrix probably
perhaps
not as
having
big because of Revitalizer, but... Well, it
Revitalizer or
definitely
something?
can be if you don't... Yeah. Yeah, this is just that awkward early stage where if you don't have Forest or Giant Plants, you're going to have to discard stuff that you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also has to decide what to grab. Obviously, he's tossing up between... Yeah, so not actually going to grab another Shaman. Perhaps he has
Yeah.
either another Shaman in his hand or he just knows he wants to use a draw supporter.
Yep.
So he just grabs another Rowlet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's got the Floatstone.
And yeah, had the
yeah.
Sycamore, yeah.
Clean Sycamore. High five from Matt. Good sportsmanship. Congratulates Joseph, even though he doesn't want to see that himself.
Oh,
Right,
no,
there's
you
the
don't get the
Forest.
high five until you get the Forest of Giant Plants and 4 stage
Yeah.
2s out. Yeah, and that's probably
Yeah.
what we're going to see here.
Yeah.
See that Vileplume in his hand, so this
So he
could go
will-
for a Gloom, but it'll probably go for a Dartrix, I think.
Yeah,
But
it's a tough
this
choice.
could be an awkward spot where
Okay, so he grabs
he is
the
going to
Gloom.
grab the Gloom. Okay, so
It's one of those things. He has got Lugia in the active.
exactly, so he can put
that
on
is gonna
pressure.
Be doing damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't have Lugia, then that's when you probably don't want to get out Vileplume before you get out Decidueye. But yeah,
Yeah.
If at least you're putting on pressure, I think that's the right move.
Because he doesn't want to see those Spirit Links come down from Matt. 'Cause
No.
That's going to put him under a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. Plays a Trainer's Mail correctly before playing down the Vileplume.
Yep, that's a huge decision there.
Yeah. Alright. So not sure what he's... I can see a Forest off the Trainer's Mail. Okay, so he's got an N for next turn, which is great.
Yeah, interesting. That's a signal to Matt. Matt knows that Joseph has an N. It's always beneficial to know if your opponent has an N. Obviously,
Yeah.
Joseph couldn't have avoided that, but yeah. So Matt's going to know that. Well, he's not necessarily going to know 100% for sure that he's going to get N, but that's something that he should be keeping in mind on his turn. But just seen
Okay.
Ultra Ball.
So
Oh,
the
okay.
Ultra
Discards
Ball
the
is
Sycamore. Yeah. Okay.
So he will definitely have to play N next turn unless he draws into something else. He's got a Shaman.
Yep. Grabbing another Shaman.
So
Yeah. So he's really going for it. So he is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So his last 2 cards are Vileplume and N.
Yeah.
And I don't imagine he's going to put down the Vileplume first.
No. So he's going to
He
draw
just
less
plays a
cards,
Shaman.
but if he does
Yeah.
draw it, it's just putting it on top of the other Shaman. So yeah, if you draw something like a Revitalizer, that's huge for him.
Yeah. He's got a Trainer's Mail.
Yeah,
he's
got to
still
train his
another
mail.
chance.
If he can get a Revitalizer, that's everything.
Did he get it? He got it.
Oh,
The
he
last
got it.
card.
That's
There it is.
huge. So we'll be able to
So-
get 2 Dartrix here.
Yeah.
If not a Dartrix and a Decidueye, not sure which. Depends
Yeah.
on what he has in his hand, but
But that Revitalizer is massive.
yeah, it's a weird card in these decks. Like obviously, it's either completely useless or it's just
Yeah.
the best card you could ever think of drawing.
Yeah.
In this
it sort
case,
of
it's
gets
the
you
latter.
out of those awkward early discards.
It
You know,
does, no,
you're
'cause-
sort of more comfortable discarding your grass Pokemon
Yeah.
early.
Because you can't avoid doing it. You've got Ultra
Yeah.
Balls, you've got a Sycamore. Like if you don't have sort of Forest and the correct evolutions, in the right order automatically. And even sometimes when you do and you force an Ultra Ball, sometimes you just force to discard and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, Revitalize is really important, but obviously once you get Vileplume out, it doesn't really do anything aside from if your opponent hexes you or if your Vileplume gets knocked out. But
Yep.
yeah, that's just how it is.
So, Joseph gets down a Decidueye and a Vileplume, so he's got a great turn. That
Yeah.
Xerneas is on a 1-turn clock. He's only
Yeah,
going to
it
be able
is,
to get
it
off
is.
one Geomancy.
So he's just deciding whether he wants to put the Feather Arrow damage, decides to put it on the bench, and hits the actives for 60.
Yep. So, Matt drawing that Hex is a bit unfortunate. Okay, so he plays a Hex Maniac.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Not-
interesting. When I said last turn that actually, he needed to play the Ultra Ball first if he wanted to get the Mega, that's actually not true because, of course, he can
Yeah.
do what he does now, which is Hex Maniac. Yeah. So, actually, I should mention that. But
Yeah. So he, I guess he'll keep a Xerneas alive for one more turn.
yeah,
which
he
is
will.
great. But I don't. Yeah, it's a tough one
So, but yeah, because
because
I mean,
you
he's
can't
still
really maximize that. By playing out too many
exactly.
items.
Because you can't. Geomancy and Mega Evolve on the same turn, obviously, so this is going to be a tough decision. Do you want to get more energy, or do you want to get a Mega Evolution off?
Yeah.
You know, possibly just wants to get out the Decidueye Gardevoir and just put on some pressure, but...
Yeah. Just drawing the Hex there was a bit awkward. He would have liked to see that maybe a little bit later on, or a time when he had more items in his hand that he could play
exactly,
out.
because of course, if you want to make mileage out of the items, they've got to be in your hand with the Hex, so...
And once you Sycamore it away, then it's pretty much gone unless you can draw your other Hex and then VS Seeker for the Hex. So things become a lot harder once that happens. So yeah, it's an awkward decision. He elects to go for another Xerneas, possibly to keep Geomancying. So yeah. Okay, so he does decide to Geomancy, and interesting decision where to put these energy. Okay. So he's spreading out his energy a little bit.
Yep.
Electing to put one on the Xerneas and one on the damaged Gardevoir. Putting 3 on one Gardevoir just makes that such a massive target.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, Lugia does have its incredible second attack, Deep Hurricane.
It does. It's a really good attack. Yeah, you cannot ever forget it.
So, yeah.
150.
Okay.
You know, obviously nothing's got that.
Yeah, and of course with Decidueye Snipes, that becomes much, much better.
Yeah.
Can hit 170 or 90, 210 if you're really lucky and have 3 Decidueyes and a Lugia set up with 2 energy. But, okay, so Joseph plays an Ent. Probably just looking for more Decidueye pieces. So he's got a Revitalizer in hand. Can't play that because Vileplume, shutting off items. And Matt has got a whole bunch of nothing, looks like. Some items, an energy, and Mega Gardevoir. Okay, so that Hex actually benefiting Joseph, and that was what I was talking about earlier. I forgot that Matt actually played a Hex on his turn, so Joseph is able to play his Revitalizer to get back Decidueye, so that's what I was talking about the Hex.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Benefiting the Decidueye player as well. So, Lugia just going to hit for 60 here. And Matt draws a Spirit Link.
The pain. The pain. Yeah. If only it was accompanied by a Hex, but unfortunately it is not. This is
where you wish you had the Hex.
If only you could just summon Hex when you needed it.
Yeah.
So the Gardevoir in his hand is the Brilliant Arrow Gardevoir.
Brilliant Arrow, it is.
Yeah. So he'll be this situation isn't looking that dire for him necessarily. If Joseph doesn't get like a Lysander or something, he'll have this big Mega Gardevoir fresh, and that'll be able to knock out the Lugia in one hit. So, yeah, this actually isn't that bad for Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously if Joseph were able to get a Lysander here, that would be huge, because he'd be able to really soften that Mega Gardevoir up. But if he can't, he'll be able to get it. Okay, yeah, it doesn't, so yeah, it just ends there.
So, what Matt draws off this N is going to be pretty massive. I imagine Joseph is going to snipe out the Xerneas, so force Matt to promote something to take a hit from Lugia.
Yeah, definitely.
And
the question is what's Matt
he needs to draw a Fairy Garden, because
he does.
That Mega Gardevoir in the active spot to take a hit.
No, and he might be faced with an awkward decision about what to send up. Well, we do see a Hexmaniac in his hand.
And 2 VS Seekers.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
So... Okay, so Joseph does snipe the active, takes a prize. What does he get? So Matt's going to have to promote something, and you'll feel like it has to be the Xerneas here.
Yeah, but if you can't get it out of the active spot, it's going to be stuck there, and then that's not going to be good.
Oh, he promotes Shaman.
Interesting. Well, it's something that he can retrieve for 1 energy. I mean, it's not a great play, but it is something that he can retrieve for 1 energy.
Yeah, he does have the energy in hand as well, so...
Because if he doesn't have a Fairy Garden, so...
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, that's kind of like his best play. And of course, he can discard it off play if he ever attacks with Despair, so I think that was a good play by him.
Yeah, I think that's a good play as well. So he hexes there, which is pretty big, so...
Yeah, this is going to be a knockout.
Yeah, this is going to be a knockout. So Joseph's actually under a bit of pressure here. If
he doesn't get a double colours, he's not going to be able to do any damage this turn, so...
Yeah.
He's under a bit
So
of
he's
a
going
clock
to be a
here.
seeker. So Matt going to try and chain hexes here. So that Mega Gardevoir can do a lot of work if you're chaining hexes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Does he actually play another Versus Seeker for another hex in case Joseph ends? Because of course, if you've got
I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, because having a hex floating around your deck is better than having a Versus Seeker floating around your deck. Obviously, if his hand, if he doesn't get end, well then it doesn't matter what he does because he could just Versus Seeker after he hexes. But he's vulnerable to end here, so absolutely. I would have liked to see him Versus Seeker for the hex there. I think.
No, I totally agree with that. And Decidueye decks normally run high counts of ends, so it's fairly likely that they'll have one in a large hand.
Yeah.
And we do see Joseph does have an end, and he plays the end. Matt not wanting to shuffle his hand into his deck.
Could I not? Is that optional? Yeah, that should be optional, really, yeah.
So, Matt's drawing 4 cards here. If he can draw into that hex again, that will be massive, because it will mean that his Gardevoir is able to get off another attack after this turn, even if Joseph hits for 90 with Razor Leaf.
Yeah.
So, he doesn't draw the hex, he does draw 2 Fairy Gardens. Because Joseph can hit for 90 this turn if he has a double colorless, which will put that Gardevoir up to 110. And then on the following turn, if Matt had a hex, Joseph can only hit for another 90, which would put it up to 200. So 10 damage short of a knockout. So it would mean he gets one more attack off with the Mega Guardi, but it doesn't look like Matt has the hex. So Joseph just deciding what his best option is. He might be thinking of Hollow Hunting here.
Yeah, he could be. I'd probably like to just see him Razor Leaf, but...
Yeah.
Because I think for him, it's going to be important just to put on pressure.
Yeah. I think, the more time he gives Matt, the more chance he has of drawing into things like Hex and other energy to get
absolutely,
one-hit
yeah.
KOs.
And
so
once you knock 3 energy off the board, when Matt has no way of recovering them, that's just so big. And he can trade here. Like, he's not in any risk of getting KO'd.
Okay, but it looks like he is going to Hollow Hunt.
But he's just going to Hollow Hunt, yeah.
So, might be looking for a Lugia with a double colorless. No, he gets a Lysander and double colorless. Okay.
Okay.
So, Matt, his turn is pretty straightforward here. There's not much he can do.
Yes, the good old just attack. That's his turn.
Attack. So, he hits for 180. Pretty good damage.
Yeah, good damage. Yeah, it absolutely is. But unfortunately, it's not 230.
Nah.
Yeah, that's what happens when Decidueye has 230 HP with Rainbow, yeah. But, I mean, I still think I would have preferred to see Joseph Razor Leaf that last turn, because if he had this turn, that Mega Guardi would be gone.
Absolutely.
Whereas now, Matt's going to be able to... He's going to be able to get down to just 2 prizes, and this game's going to be pretty much down to the wire.
Yeah.
Whereas otherwise, I think it would have been a wrap. Because, I mean, there's no reason Joseph couldn't have just waited to Hollow Hunt later, so I think... But, I think he's in a good position regardless.
But if Matt is able to get down to 2 prizes, it's a pretty easy Lysander from there on a Shaman.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need to knock out another big EX. He just needs to knock out a Shaman.
And he can even use a normal Gardevoir EX to attack with Link Blast. Not Link Blast. What's the bottom attack? Can't remember the bottom attack. It does 120 for 3.
It does, and then you have to discard an energy.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. So Joseph actually feeling like he needs to take a gamble here.
Mm-hmm.
I just think... So clearly he was angling for this play on the previous turn when he Hollow Hunted. It's going to pay off because although Matt has a Fairy Garden, he doesn't have the energy.
Yeah.
So
a slightly risky play from Joseph there.
Yeah, that was a high risk, high reward play, and I think that the course of action he took was possibly maybe more risky than it needed to be. Yeah, it is going to really pay off big here, but, I mean, yeah, he was probably maybe worried that Matt had some way of getting, one-hit knockouts or something like that, yeah.
But he hasn't locked Matt out of the game, even with this play, I don't think.
No, of course, because,
locked Matt out of the
absolutely.
game,
It's about whether you get rid of all the energy on Gardevoir, and it's not like he can, do that sort of really degenerate, I'm just going to keep something active for the rest of the game. Like, he is still on a clock because Matt just needs to draw Fairy Garden energy, which he definitely has. Like, it's not like, I've, stuck a Gardevoir with no float turn active, for the rest of the game. Like, this is a bit different. So he probably is just going to have to take a knockout here on the active.
So Joseph knocked out a Shaman with some snipes. So he's down to 3 prizes.
But he's down to 3 prizes. So and getting that third Decidueye in play, that's going to be huge. Yeah.
Matt's got a Hex, but not much else.
Interesting. Yeah, retreats the Decidueye. So make sure that it doesn't get knocked out.
So he hits for 90. And so Matt, he has to Hex here, not much choice, and then probably has to just VS-Seeker back the Hex.
Yep.
But unfortunately now he will get knocked out in 2 turns. So it's going to be hard for him to take 4 prizes here.
Yeah, he's really just got to hope at this point that Joseph doesn't get another double colourless. Because, of course, he did have to discard it by retreating last turn.
Yep.
So if he can knock out this active Decidueye, and because Joseph's already used Hollow Hunt, he can't necessarily attack. Like, he can't attack unless he gets a double colourless. So, and yeah, an end there from Matt would have actually been huge.
Massive.
You know, it almost arguably would have been more important than a Hex. You know, almost in a way. Maybe it would have been. But, we see Joseph has a Lysander in his hand. That's going to be big if he also has a double colours. But
so...
Oh, no, sorry, wait. So Joseph's just down. He just has 1 prize left. Yeah, so he can just Lysander the Zenith. No, that is huge. Yeah. Doesn't even need the double colours because that did get knocked out. So, yeah, that's the game. He's able to do 130. Oh, no, sorry, you can't. Because he got hexed. What am I talking about?
Oh, he got hexed. Apologies.
Sorry, you can't win the game here.
It does mean that at any point he can just use the 3 snipes.
Yeah, exactly. So he can he can win the game. But
so even if one of his Decidueyes goes down, if Matt isn't able to hex, he can just snipe it twice. So Matt, unfortunately for his part, just can't find the Fairy Gardens.
Yeah, can't find the Fairy Garden. Because of course, I mean, Joseph's playing more Forest of Giant Plants than he is Fairy Garden, and that's the game. Knows that he can't retreat or do anything to save the game there.
Matt had 2 Despero prize that game.
Ouch.
But what he really needed was just some energy in Fairy Gardens.
Yeah.
So he almost... The game was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested. Joseph winning 6 prizes. Winning and Matt only being able to take 2 prizes. But a very close game, actually. And that's the power of Mega Gardy. It can sort of just stay in the game for long enough. But unfortunately for Matt, just couldn't find the cards he needed at the right time. So... yeah, great series from both players.
Yeah, good to see. Well played by both players.
Yep. Congratulations to Joseph for taking it out. And we'll see you guys in the next round. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And see you in round 4.
Yeah, see you next round.